Mia, and she introduced herself to the jury here by saying that Sean Combs had sexually assaulted her.
She testified that she was a rape victim.
The first time she met Combs, she said he was in his underwear.
What happens when a celebrity's name is powerful enough to stop a police investigation before it even starts? In a tense moment that shook the courtroom, music mogul Sean Diddy Combs found himself not only facing grave accusations, but also explosive claims about the reach of his influence. A former assistant's emotional testimony didn't just raise eyebrows, it silenced the entire room. Her words suggested Diddy's power may have extended well beyond music and fame, possibly into the halls of law enforcement itself. Stay with us.
I have no idea how it's possible, and I'm sure Mia is probably panicking in this moment in time. Like, are people stalking her on the internet, trying to figure out her identity? She testified that she was a rape victim, essentially. There's rape shield laws that exist to try to protect people in her position. And so this is really getting very nerve-wracking probably for her, and just absurd for the courtroom.
Yeah, this testimony today was from a woman who was testifying as under the name Mia. The judge said this is a pseudonym and that no one was to record her. She was, they wanted to keep her anonymity. It was the deal with the prosecution. But she was talking about, she is a former assistant of Diddy's, and talked about a 2010 incident where Diddy and Cassie found out that Prince was having this private house party. Diddy didn't want to go. He was staying home and said that Cassie should not go. But Cassie was at home with Mia, and they talked about it and decided they were going to go. So they went to the party. She says they were having a great time watching Prince perform on a dining room table. And then suddenly she saw Diddy walk in and was terrified. And she grabbed Cassie, and she said they ran out of the party. They ran across the street. They are hiding in a wooded area behind some bushes. But Diddy found them and grabbed Cassie, she said, and started to assault her when suddenly one of Prince's security guards ran over there and had to pull Diddy off of Cassie, separate them, and that was the end of the violence for that particular evening. But the way she described it on the stand, it really sounded like a movie playing out, and you could really see, envision what was happening that night in 2010.
Who is the woman known only as Mia? And why did her testimony stun the entire courtroom? Shielded by a pseudonym to protect her identity, Mia once worked in the shadows of fame, serving as Sean Diddy Combs' assistant for 8 long years. But what she revealed in court painted a far darker reality than the public ever imagined. According to her powerful testimony, those years were less about luxury and more about silence, fear, and control. Mia claimed her duties went well beyond managing logistics. Her real job, she said, was protecting Diddy's image, even when it meant misleading others, silencing critics, and masking behavior she described as deeply troubling. The courtroom listened in hushed silence as Mia described a work environment driven by chaos and fear. She recounted sudden outbursts, verbal tirades, and moments of public humiliation. One memory stood out: being harshly scolded for speaking too long with a guest, a moment that left a lasting emotional scar. But the control, she alleged, wasn't just professional, it was personal. Mia said her time, her movements, even her peace of mind were subject to constant intrusion. She described late-night calls, unexpected demands, and an overwhelming pressure to remain loyal, no matter what. Experts in trauma say such conditions can slowly erode a person's sense of self, making it nearly impossible to speak out. And yet, Mia did speak. Her voice trembled, but her resolve was clear. Taking the stand meant confronting years of suppressed pain and going up against a man with unmatched power and reach. But then, the room shifted. Because Mia wasn't just there to talk about what she witnessed. She was about to share what she endured firsthand. And that's when the courtroom truly fell silent. The night everything changed, Mia's most haunting revelation. From the moment Mia took the stand, the air in the courtroom...
And she introduced herself to the jury here by saying that Sean Combs had sexually assaulted her. She hasn't testified about it yet. Instead, she's talking about times she said she witnessed violence against Cassie Ventura, the time she said Combs slammed her head against a bed and drew blood and left a gash in Cassie Ventura's eyebrow, the time they attended a party against Combs's wishes at Prince's house when they danced on plexiglass covering the pool. Prince performed, but then Combs arrived, chased them down, and was about to attack Cassie when she said Prince's security intervened. She also, this woman Mia, gave the jury a sense of what it was like to be his personal assistant.
What I find more troubling and less likely is if this video is being sent by random people on the internet, and that's what they want to proffer as evidence in this criminal trial, I find that hard to be admitted. If they could track the video from one person who could confirm the identity of the person, and then it could be used for impeachment evidence, that's different. But random people on the internet sending videos, that opens the door to a can of worms.
Well, I mean, Tyler, they would have to authenticate it, make sure it's real, and couldn't they theoretically be able to use it?
They could theoretically be able to use it, but it seems like they're trying to use it right now when Mia's going to get put back on the stand. I haven't heard of any witness to authenticate this video yet. They're just talking about displaying this video. That's what seems to be a little odd to me.
The first time she met Combs, she said he was in his underwear. And then the first day on the job, she said she didn't sleep because she was made to go to his house, to his recording studio, to an apartment. She also said that she worked sometimes 5 days in a row without sleep and was made to do everything from anticipating his moods to cracking his knuckles to doing his taxes to standing there 22 hours a day doing nothing.
Felt different. Her voice quivered as she began to recount a moment that, in her words, had haunted her for years. A night, she said, marked the darkest point of her time working for Sean Diddy Combs. According to Mia, she was summoned late at night under the pretense of urgent business. But once inside Diddy's private quarters, everything shifted. What began as work quickly became something else, something terrifying. She described feeling cornered, trapped by both the physical setting and the immense imbalance of power. Her instincts screamed for her to leave, but fear and loyalty froze her in place. Her words were raw, unfiltered, and devastating. She alleged a sexual assault that, she claimed, was not just an act of violence, but one carefully masked by control and intimidation. As she spoke, the courtroom sat still. Some jurors turned pale. A few scribbled notes. One woman in the audience silently wiped away tears. Prosecutors didn't sensationalize the moment. They let Mia speak, allowing the weight of her story to echo across the room. She painted a disturbing portrait of daily life under Diddy's influence, where fear was constant and boundaries were meaningless. But perhaps the most chilling detail was Diddy's alleged response in the aftermath. Nothing. No acknowledgement. No remorse. Just business as usual. That indifference, Mia said, made the trauma feel even more isolating, like she had become invisible in a world built to protect him. Even Diddy, long composed, showed subtle signs of tension. A clenched jaw, a flicker of discomfort, averted eyes. And then Mia's voice shifted again, this time to the experiences of others. She alluded to additional incidents, including moments involving Cassie Ventura. The courtroom silence was no longer just shock. It was anticipation. Because if Mia's testimony was just the beginning, what comes next could shake everything. Behind the glamour, what Mia claims she saw between Diddy and Cassie. As Mia's testimony continued, the courtroom shifted again, this time from horror to heartbreak. Her voice, still steady despite the emotional toll, began to recount what she claimed to have witnessed during the years she served as Sean Diddy Combs' assistant. But the focus was no longer just on her own experience. It was now on what she saw unfold between Diddy and singer Cassie Ventura. To the public, they were a power couple, stylish, glamorous, untouchable. But behind closed doors, Mia painted a far darker portrait. According to her,
I don't think so. I think that would be like the best appeal point ever on the side of the defense. I think the case gets overturned because you're violating the confrontation clause. You know, you're taking away Diddy's right to confront his accuser, especially because she's already given all of the testimony that was apparently positive for the prosecution, and then cutting her off before even one question could be asked by or maybe not one, but the full cross-examination be completed. I think it gets overturned.
What do you think the judge is going to do here? I mean, do you think the judge is go, first of all, can the judge order an investigation into this? And also, Tyler, do you think the judge is going to allow this piece of evidence in? If we're reading this correctly through the transcript, that this is a situation where she might be faking the way she's speaking on the stand, feels like relevant evidence for cross-examination, but at the same time, the way they're getting it and the issue of her identity being revealed, A, can the judge order some sort of investigation here, and B, you think he's going to allow this video in?
Well, it's probably 3 o'clock right now, or close to 2 o'clock. If I was the judge, which I'm not, I think this would be a good time to let's see what this video looks like. Let's see what the testimony would be given, what examination questions will be asked by the defense. Let's break for the day, and he'll make his ruling and start on Monday fresh, whether this video is going to be allowed in or not allowed in. I think that would be a good way for the court to explore, the potential pitfalls here, see how the defense is going to authenticate this video. Now, regarding any additional protections for Mia, I think that the court and the parties involved in this case have appeared to do everything possible to protect her identity. But the fact of the matter is, this is a high-profile case. People are watching this all across the country. And if you were to think that she would be on the stand giving facts about pictures with Cassie and being in South Africa, that people weren't looking on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, anywhere else on social media to try to put two and two together, that's hard to believe. So I'm not shocked that people have identified her, because I'm pretty sure people are on their phones right now trying to look into her. Yeah, they're not going to allow the video in. They were saying that there's been substantial social media posts already admitted into evidence showing that Mia has been in communications and contact with Mr. Combs, and that she said things like, "I love you, you're a mentor," and things of that nature. But it sounds like this video, the defense believes this is going to be some strong evidence. I'm pretty sure they're going to want their objections noted for the record. So this could be an issue on appeal if this is highly prejudicial for Mr. Combs' case.
Well, Serena, I mean, it seems like they're saying we're using it for a different purpose. We're not trying to suggest, hey, she's making up the story because look at, positive posts she's making about Sean Combs. But no, this video shows she's not talking the same affect that she is on the stand. So it seems, if I'm understanding correctly, they're trying to use this video for a different kind of impeachment.
I totally agree with you. And I think, not to assume too many things, but to me, this feels like the judge saying, you know what, I'm just going to say it's cumulative because we got to keep this trial going. We have Mia on the stand who's probably falling apart. I'm not going to want to bring her back on Monday. Finish her testimony, get her off the stand. Let's keep this trial moving at the right pace. And I do agree with you. I think that the judge is just making that decision to make that decision. I don't think it's actually cumulative.
It's a great question. By the way, another update in court. Brian Steele, this is Sean Combs' defense counsel, one of them, can I ask if she sent it? Can I ask if she sent it? The judge says yes. I'm going to ask about scrapbooks. The prosecutor and I have a disagreement. I have 3 copies, one for the jurors to pass around. The honorable prosecutor and I disagree. So it looks like a separate question. Here's a great question from Michelle LaBelle. Tyler, how does the public know how she's acting in court, which is different than usual if they're not allowed in court? So that makes me think now, the only people to know how she's actually testifying and the way that she's speaking are those who are in the courtroom. Now, I'm not making any conspiracy theories here, but that's a good question, right? Why would this video be circulating? Unless of course, someone found out her identity from the outside, just was circulating the video, and defense counsel said, wait a minute. The way she's talking in this video is very different than the way she's talking on the stand. Or the more ominous conspiracy theory is, did someone in the court who knew the way she was speaking start circulating the video online? I mean, I don't want to be engaging in conspiracy theories here, but it's a great question from Michelle LaBelle, no?
Yeah, it's a great question. But one thing that Mr. Combs' defense lawyer just said is, can I ask her if she sent it? Now, if they're referencing the video that he wants to ask her if she sent it, they must know who she sent the video to.
She was often laced with volatility and control. She described an atmosphere thick with emotional tension, where unpredictability reigned and fear became routine. One moment stood out: a dinner party gone wrong. Mia claimed Diddy erupted over a minor disagreement, slamming Cassie against a wall in a sudden burst of rage. But what haunted Mia most wasn't just the act, it was Cassie's response. No panic, no protest, just quiet acceptance. As if this was normal. She told the court it was part of a pattern. Cassie's energy, she said, often carried the weight of someone constantly walking on eggshells. According to Mia, Diddy monitored her calls, tracked her whereabouts, and encouraged distance from longtime friends, all under the guise of protection or career focus. But to Mia, it felt more like isolation wrapped in control. There was guilt too, guilt Mia admitted to carrying for years. Fear of retaliation, fear of losing her job, fear of what speaking up might cost her. But that guilt, she said, is part of why she's here now, to support those who never had the chance to speak. Then came a moment no one in the courtroom seemed ready for. Mia recalled hearing shouting one night, sounds of distress coming from behind a locked door where Diddy and Cassie had vanished during an argument. Her voice cracked as she recalled thinking, no one should ever be treated like that. Prosecutors highlighted that moment as a thread in a larger, disturbing pattern, a pattern they argue shows not just emotional abuse, but a deliberate system of control that went unchecked for years. Diddy sat motionless as the testimony unfolded, his face drained of expression, his focus distant. While Cassie's story has surfaced before, Mia's account offered something different. A witness, someone from the inside, reinforcing the darkest parts of what the public only guessed. Her testimony transformed the case from personal trauma to a systemic reckoning. And as her words echoed in the silent courtroom, it became clear. Mia's voice wasn't just her own anymore. It was speaking for something, and someone much bigger. They won't touch me. Mia testifies about Diddy's alleged power over police. Could one man's name really be enough to stop an investigation before it starts? That's the chilling question raised in court when Mia, former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs, detailed how the music mogul allegedly leveraged his celebrity to silence trouble, even from the police. According to her testimony, Diddy didn't just believe he was untouchable. He boasted about it. Mia claimed that on more than one occasion, Diddy made bold statements suggesting he had law enforcement in his back pocket. Whether it was whispered during a tense moment or said aloud at one of his infamous parties, the message was always the same. The LOD won't touch me. They know who I am. That statement, though unverified, landed heavily in the courtroom, especially as Mia recounted a specific night when a neighbor threatened to call the police over a loud party. According to her,
they said random people earlier, they may not be trying to show their whole hand here. If Mr. Combs knows Mia clearly, so he knows how she acted when she was with him versus how she's acting now. The defense has, offices, and they have associates and other people who are on the outside who could be investigating, trying to collect evidence that could be used to help Mr. Combs in real time. Now, do I think somebody there is a plant who's a reporter or something helping the defense? No, but this is a high-profile case. She's testifying. To think that there aren't people on the outside who have interest in this case, whether as associates, employees of either side of this case, would be foolish.
Got a question from Laya. This is a question for you, Serena. Did Mia get exposed?
Yeah, it's possible. And again, it's very scary if so, because everyone's trying to protect this woman and she deserves that protection and privacy. But as we've been saying, it is still a somewhat public trial. There are going to be not only people in the courtroom, but online sleuths. I mean, even the court drawing, though her face is blurred out, we can tell her race, we can tell her hair color, we can tell her stature. And, there are probably going to be people, maybe not in Diddy's inner circle, but maybe even in the second or third degree circle, who know who this woman is. And so to think that she has complete anonymity in today's day and age with, online sleuthing and just the ability to find things out about people, it's just so easy today. So I do think that someone figured out who she was.
I'll get a question from Melissa Budas. This is for you, Tyler. Didn't the previous witness, the stylist, so Deontay Nash, confirm a lot of Mia's testimony?
Oh, he confirmed a lot of her testimony, and everybody that the prosecution is calling as witness, their testimony is meant to build on each other. Think about the witnesses that led up to Kid Cudi testifying. Then you had Deontay Nash, who testified a couple days ago, and now Mia, who's testifying now. So the prosecution is not calling witnesses, and they're going to be surprised at what they say. They have an idea of what they're going to say, and they want to present this case methodically in a way they want. That's the whole point of planning for trial and presenting your case in a way that's going to be effective.
Warning, his confidence unnerving everyone around him. These allegations introduced a powerful new layer to the trial, not just about personal abuse, but about institutional protection. If what Mia says is true, victims and witnesses may have felt helpless, trapped in a world where status could override justice. Legal experts warn that in cases like these, it's not just actual favors or cover-ups that matter, it's the perception of power. A perception strong enough to keep people silent. Mia admitted that Diddy's sense of invincibility affected her deeply. She told the court she often stayed quiet out of fear, believing that no one would believe me, not against someone like him. That quiet admission left a visible impact. Several jurors looked up, pens paused, the weight of her words sinking in. The prosecution leaned into this moment, suggesting that Diddy's alleged influence went beyond celebrity, that it bordered on dangerous. They hinted that Mia might not be the only one to testify about this invisible wall of protection, raising the stakes for what's still to come. Because if the jury accepts this version of events, if they believe Diddy's power wasn't just personal, but institutional, then this case could become more than a reckoning for one man. It could pull back the curtain on a system that, for too long, may have helped him stay untouchable. Clip 6.
Overlap of testimony regarding trying to intervene when Sean Combs allegedly was attacking Cassie. One of the few times we've ever heard anybody do that, but that Mia tried to step in, he tried to step in, he mentioned Mia. Serena, we got a question here from Green Yoshi once again. Is there another color Yoshi? I got to play Super Mario 3, I don't remember. All right, what is being done to protect the jury in terms of their identities post-trial?
That's a great question. A jury is the people who are on this case might be nervous about something like that. Obviously, they were very well vetted. Questions were asked of them, and somehow they ended up on this jury as unbiased and willing participants, I guess. But there is always that fear that they're going to be found out. Sometimes people take advantage of that. They like to write about it, or they like to give interviews, but you don't have to. And it is a nerve-wracking thing if people find out who you are and you've been on this trial, because sometimes people are very upset at the eventual verdict.
One more question I'm going to throw to you, Tyler. This is from Enlin DK once again. If they're saying she's faking, meaning Mia, couldn't the same be said about Diddy? Where's the bling and ego?
Well, the bling is not on him. He's now a resident of a detention facility while he's pending trial. He hasn't taken the stand yet either to put himself up there and remind people that he is presumed innocent until he's found guilty by a jury. He does not have to present any evidence. It's up to the prosecution's job to present their case and get these criminal charges proved beyond a reasonable doubt. So if he does get on the stand, yes, they could say that Mr. Combs is acting. Now, there could be you could insinuate that the clothes that he's wearing, that people have described, he looks somewhat like Bill Cosby as Mr. Huxtable, right, in the Cosby Show, versus the mere Sean Puffy Combs that people are used to. I could see that, but he's not on the stand here. He's sitting at the table as a defendant, trying to talk to his counsel about how they can discredit any witness that gets on the stand for the prosecution.
So, quick update from court. Judge, you can give it to them. Judge says you can give it to them for a couple of minutes. Bring Mia back in. Then the jury, the witness enters, jury enters. Okay, Brian Steele asks, what is the Breakfast Club? Mia says, the name of our camp, Puff's friend group, still partying at breakfast. I was invited in